Well, how y'all are? It's your native Flor-xan, and today we're going to work on something that we talked about in my last video, and if you haven't seen that video, I'll post a link in the description below. But I was talking about cooking cheap cuts of meat, and so today we're going to be working on a beef one, so stay tuned for that. Alright folks, so what we got is some beef shank, and what we're going to do is trim them a little bit. Not sure what happened to my audio on this one, but basically I'm just cutting away the fat and cutting away any silver skin so that the meat doesn't curl when we're cooking it on the pit. So something else to look out for as I was cutting into this when I saw it. This right here is commonly known as gristle, but it's actually part of the tendon that was running down the leg. And if you see it, it's a good idea to go ahead and cut it out, because if not, it's just going to be something that is chewy and you're going to be like, hey, what the heck is this? It's chewy. That's what it is. You got a piece of tendon there. And I've yet to see one smoke up and tender up. Alright folks, so I got all that silver skin and fat trimmed off. You can still see in the marbling there's still some fat in here, so I'm not worried about the meat drying out, but you can see how loose it is and how it moves. So once we put these on the pit, they're going to stay where they are until they get all cooked up. Now, how I'm going to season them, I got some of my house seasoning here, which again is just equal parts salt, pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder. And so we're going to season these up on both sides and then get them on the pit. It's also a good idea when you're doing these to catch that end, or the outside edge rather. Alright folks, so here we go. Just gonna put these on this end. Back in about an hour to check on them. Alright folks, the meat's been on here for about an hour. Just going to give it a little temperature check. So right now it's right about medium rare. So we're going to give them a flip. Let them run a little longer. Come back to them now. Again, I think I failed to mention earlier, I'm running 225 on this pit. So they've run an hour so far, so probably in the next half hour or so they should be done and to the temp we want. Okay folks, so we're getting to the second part of the cook. What I've done is taken the meat, I cut the bone out of it, and then to that we're going to add, I got one good sized shallot that I sliced pretty thin, and I'm going to leave them whole like that. They'll break up as it cooks. And then I've got one container of baby bells. And then to that, this is that Lipton onion soup mix, the same as what I used in the smoked hamburgers. A packet of French dip au jus. And then a packet of brown gravy. Then I'm going to add some house seasoning. Probably 2 tablespoons or so. And then I've got, this is some beef stock that I used the other day. It's about half of the container. We're just going to soak all this down with that. And I got another one here. Now I normally add, this is a full quart here, That's normally how much I put in here. But we may go ahead and do the 1.5 quarts. We'll just see how far it comes up. You just want to make sure your meat and some of your veg is mostly covered. And then we're going to take a little daddle sauce. Probably do a good 2-3 tablespoons of that. After that, we'll mix this up a little bit, and I'm going to put it in the fridge overnight and take it out in the morning, and then get the crock pot going. It'll cook while I'm at work, and I'll show you what we end up with when I get home. Alright folks, so got up this morning, put the crock pot together, turned it on when I left. It run for about 10 hours, and I hadn't even taken the lid off of it. But the first thing I want to do is to try to grab our chunks of meat out of here as best we can. They're going to likely fall apart. I'm going to get these dug out of here, and then I'm going to show you what we're going to do with this juice and how we're going to finish these off. You can see how tender this meat is. The reason I like to dig it out is so if there's any unwanted fat or something like that in here, I'm going to go ahead and dig it out at this time. Okay folks, so I got all the meat removed and just kind of broke it up with my tongs. What's nice is you can still see the smoke ring on that meat. And I got our juice here. Now I know we put 1 packet of gravy in here, but it's not quite as thick as I wanted. The juice is still a little soupy, so what we're going to do is I got some cornstarch. We're going to make a little cornstarch slurry. And so I'm just going to take probably 2-3 tablespoons of that and some cold water. So I got my starch, my cold water. I'm just going to mix this up, or whisk this up rather. Make sure it's all evened out, there's no clumps in there. And we're going to take and pour that into that hot juice. Kind of stir that around. And then if it's not as thick as we want it, then we might do a little more, but I don't want it real extremely thick. I just want it thick enough to where it's kind of like a light gravy. I think that right there is about the consistency I want, kind of a thin gravy. So now what we're going to do is add our meat back to it. Alright, so we got our meat added back to it. Going to give it a stir. And I'm just going to let this set for a little bit. It's still pretty hot. And then figure out what I want to eat this on. Is it mashed potatoes or maybe just some rice? So we'll let this cool down a little bit, and then we'll figure out what we're going to eat this on. Alright folks, so here we go. I got some jasmine rice. I don't know who Jasmine is, but I like her rice. Decided to go with that. We're going to put us a few heaping spoons of this on here. Boy, that's looking good. Let's get a taste of this here. Man, oh man, oh man, that's good. That's hitting on all cylinders there, boy. Gonna keep this fat boy fat. But hey, again, relatively cheap cut of meat. You don't have to smoke it like I did. That's just how I prefer to do it, to add that extra bit of smokiness to it. You can do the same meat prep, put it straight in a crock pot and let her run. So I hope you try it. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.